Hello, everyone. A lovely evening to all of you. I hope everybody is doing fine. I would want to welcome you to yet another episode of BBKP Shala. We are here with yet another interesting topic to discuss on, to give you certain tips and tricks, and we have a very special guest with us for the same. So, as the name of the session goes, from procrastination to proclamation. So, we'll be talking about that only today. So, in our today's session, we're going to discuss about tips to manage stress, tips for time management, strategies that you can use for the various upcoming exams. As we all know that all the undergraduate exams are aligned in the coming weeks. So how can you cope up with the stress that you might have with it and everything related to that? We'll also be touching a little bit on the verbal aspect of your exams, because we know that verbal ability is a common section in all the exams, whether it is CUET, whether it is IPMAT, whether it is CET, it's common in all these exams. So we'll be discussing the tips and tricks for verbal as well, because we have a verbal expert with us today. So before we go ahead and I introduce the guest for the evening, let me just give a little recap about what has happened in the past week, for the past 2 weeks in the undergraduate or the UG exams. So the registrations are closed for the CET exam, that is for Symbiosis, for CUET exam, and for IPMAT Rohtak. So the deadlines passed, I think, 1 or 2 days ago. However, the CUET registrations were reopened again and they're closed again. So I hope everybody who wasn't able to fill in the forms earlier or was not able to complete their forms earlier have done so. And I hope your preparations for the exams are going really well, because the CUET exam will begin from 21st May onwards. So let's hope that you do really well. We'll have a session on CUET as well as to get closer to the exams. But I thought our today's session should be dedicated on stress management. It should be focused on, because it has been noticed that the students have gotten a little relaxed after their board exams. So this might as well be a wake-up call for them to get get ready for the upcoming exams. So if I talk about the upcoming deadlines, so we have IPMAT Indore deadline coming on 17th of April. So 17th of April will be the last date for all the IPMAT Indore aspirants to register themselves for the exam. Okay, and DU-LLB, of course, as we all know, that DU-LLB will be considered on the basis of your score for the CUET PG exam. So the CUET PG exam, the registrations for the same will be closing by 19th of April. So make sure that you do register yourself if you're a law aspirant, if you're willing to get admissions into Delhi University in their undergraduate law program. So make sure that you're filling in the CUET PG forms by 19th April. The exam date for DU-LLB is tentative as of now. It's not been official. By that, I mean for the CUET PG exam. So the tentative date is somewhere between 1 to 10th June, but we're looking forward to having an official notice from NT, and then we can go ahead with it. So that was pretty much it, the things that you should be keeping in mind right now. We are almost 1.5 months or a few weeks, if I put it that way, away from the CUET 23 exam. So I hope you all have started appearing for mocks. I hope you are taking your preparations very, very seriously. And I hope that you have filled in the forms real correctly, because now even the correction window is closed. So I don't think there is any chance for you to recorrect it again. So yeah, so what's done is done. So focus on the preparations, and our today's session will try to answer your queries. If you have any questions, any queries about strategy, about preparation, about various undergraduate exams that you must have applied for, please feel free to put it in the comment section, and we'll be proactive here to reply to your questions. So now is the time that I introduce the guest for the evening. She is a very esteemed verbal faculty at Hitbullseye. She's been associated with us for a very long time. She has been a guest on the BBKP Shala before, where she enlightened us with her experience, with her expertise in the field. And we got a privilege to get her on board this time as well. So please allow me to welcome Ms. Tamoshi.
Hello, good evening, everyone, and namaste, everybody. That's how I should start today's session, because proclamation part is there and also procrastination.
Correct, ma'am. So, ma'am, as I already gave a quick introduction about this session that we'll be discussing about tips and tricks for stress management and things like that. So, I would want to first of all know what is the current status of students? How are they doing right now? The board exams are over. I think for all of them, the board exams are over. So, what is the status now?
Okay, it's my experience. I think some who are very much sure that we have to clear the entrance examination because something good is waiting for us. They are sincerely doing the thing. There are people still who are confused that what exam should I really go for and what kind of, after filling up form also, that should I go or not, that kind of question. There is another set of students who are thinking, just now the boards are over, why to take pressure once again, right? Let's take a little bit of chill pill break. And there are some kind of students who have given up the hope. So there are 4 states of mind that's, I think, going around if I talk about the students.
Right. So in our today's session, we'll try to acknowledge and cover all these 4 categories. Says the title as well: procrastination to proclamation. Right. So, ma'am, if I talk about from the point of view of students who are like actually interested, dedicated to their preparations, so I am pretty sure they must be undergoing a lot of stress. Right. So, what are the quick tips that you can give them about stress management, just to start off with?
Absolutely. So first and the foremost, whatever we do, it is not about entrance examination. It is not about any kind of academic performance, sports performance, whatever we consider, right? Or social performance. Few things that we have to always remember, that definitely believe in yourself and all that you are, that there is something inside you that is greater than any obstacle. Believe in that. That means believe in your skill set, whatever you are having, on which you're honing and you're trying to enhance those skills, believe. Second is, don't take lots of pressure, because the pressure has been created by you yourself only. Because if you have started early, then definitely this pressure was not there, right? But you decided somewhere, you felt that confident that, okay, let me focus, or this is the time frame that I have left, or I will be working for. So believe in your process. Third, whatever makes you stress relief, go for it. It can be medication, it can be reading books, it can be playing games, it can be hanging out with friends, family, right? Healthy foods, having lots of junk foods also. So whatever makes you stress free, please be into that. Don't take lots of stress, because right now there is a very important kahavat that don't count your time. It's time to count your energy. So energy अगर drain हो जाएगा, time तो चलो ठीक है, छोटा time में भी हम manage कर सकते हैं. But when energy is drained, you cannot manage anything. So that is what people are figuring out right now. So I feel these are the ways by which you can make yourself motivated and pat yourself and say, yes, we can do it. That's the process always we should believe in.
Right. So I was interacting with a couple of students a couple of days ago. So one of the very common queries that students do have when they're preparing for an exam, however, we are a little off from that period because all the registrations are almost closed. But a very common query that the people have is, ma'am, what is that stipulated amount of time that is required to prepare for an exam? So is it like, is 1 month enough, or 6 months enough, or an year enough? So how would you answer to such a query about, the time required to prepare for a said exam?
So whenever I'm planning for a competitive examination, my first step should be I should go for a diagnostic test. That's a very, very basic work that we from Hitbullseye always suggest the students, right? I think you will also agree. So after going for that diagnostic test, you will have a quick reflect that जो ओवर कॉन्फिडेंट था वो कॉन्फिडेंस है, या जो कॉन्फिडेंस था वो अंडर कॉन्फिडेंस है. तो ये जो क्लैरिटी, ये तभी आपको मिल सकता है. Now, when you have the clarity, you should not panic. Whatever time left, if you are, because when we talk about +2 and competitive examination, it's about most of the things are common. They have done in their academics, and recently they have their boards. So there are many common areas. The fight is with the alien areas, right? That can be managed when you put yourself into a particular schedule. That it can be a day schedule, it can be a weekly schedule, it can be a fortnight schedule, whatever way it is considered. So scheduling is one important thing. And there is nothing like that within 1 month, it cannot be done. There are people who take the challenge and complete it within 20 days. There are people who can do it within 15 days. There are people who takes 1 year. So it's up to your capability, your belief in yourself, and definitely your performance.
Right. Rightly said, ma'am. Because I have seen people who get enrolled to a particular set course, let's say right after the 10th class. They're preparing for that exam for 2 years, let's say if it is an ND exam or some other exam. And there are certain people who start studying a month before and they're still able to qualify. So it's basically the strategy, like you rightly said. And your state of mind, I feel that's also very, very important. From what attitude are you preparing the exam? So, ma'am, you mentioned about schedule here while you were talking, while you were answering the previous question. So, according to you, what is a comprehensive study plan that a student I'm referring to, irrespective of whatever stream, whatever exam, can refer to have a all-round preparation without any stress? What is that correct study plan? Let's say 2 months prior to the exam, what should be the study plan?
So when it's 2 months prior to the examination, I cannot give you a perfect schedule, right? Because it depends. So how it will depend, there are a few parameters on which the things will depend. First, I need to understand what are my weaknesses, what are my strength area. So definitely weaknesses has to be focused more. If the syllabus is left uncovered, I have to complete the syllabus. If there is some alien topic, I have to spend time with those topics more. Right? So these are the most important things that should be included. Other than that, as you're free right now, you're only targeting for competitive examination, I feel you should spend at least half an hour for every section. Suppose if there are 3 sections in your competitive examination, let's try to spend at least 30 minutes. 30 minutes is very less, but still, जब आप 30 minutes spend करोगे, once you do that, you will feel नहीं, 30 minutes से तो मेरा नहीं हो रहा है. I need to spend 45 minutes. फिर अपने आप से वो आ जाएगा. Then it will become 1 hour. Because किसी चीज को मीठा बनाने के लिए हम शुगर ऐड करते हैं, है ना?
Right.
और फोकस बनाने के लिए क्या ऐड करते हैं?
Hours, minutes.
Hours, minute. Yes, focus बनाने के लिए you should be conscious about the process. Conscious को आप conscious नहीं बना सकते हो. जैसे sugar को बनाने का जरूरत ही नहीं है because it's an inherent character traits.
Right.
वैसे ही when you are conscious about the things, आपको पता चल जाएगा. But आपको खुद को उस जगह पे put करना है. Put yourself in that particular dimension. अच्छा मुझे इतना करना है. नहीं, मेरा तो quant बहुत weak है. I need to spend 2 hours. मेरा तो वर्बल चलो वीक है, ओके चलो 1.5 अप. ये अपने आप से आ जाएगा when you're conscious about your process. So doesn't means कि मुझे concentrate करना है, meditation करना है, पढ़ना है. Focus also means when you are conscious about your process. आप क्या कर रहे हो? That is also very, very important.
Right. And that is where I think smart work comes to play. As in, where you're not just reluctantly spending time, but you are actually valuing the time. Right, absolutely. So, ma'am, when we initially started with the interview, it mentioned about different category of students. So, I would want to refer to that category of students who, at this point, are very demotivated, who might be just feeling they're just on the verge of giving up maybe, and they're like, okay, votes to अच्छे नहीं हुए, अब शायद exams भी अच्छे नहीं होंगे. So let's cater to that particular group now. So what tips would you give to stay motivated, or to stay on the line, to keep going and not give up when you're so close?
First, when you are unable to decide क्या करना है, sit with yourself and just see what will be your next step. To reach your goal for the next step, find out the ways. And in that ways, the first step will be, अगर आप confident हो, मन नहीं लग रहा है हो जाएगा, एक हफ्ते में हो जाएगा, just go for any mock or any full length test. You will get the analysis, you will get the report generated, and then you will understand, okay, जो मैं सोच रहा था वो ऐसा नहीं है. That means I need to be focused right now. है ना? एंड जो लोग सोच रहे हो कि नहीं मुझसे तो नहीं होगा, 2 कैटेगरी जो आपने बताया, के लिए मैं एक ही बात बोलूंगी, वो मिल्टन वाला लाइन मुझे याद आ जा रहा है कि माइंड इन इट्स ओन प्लेस, हेवन हेल आउट ऑफ इट, and hell heaven out of it. तो वैसे ही चल रहा है माइंड में. अगर आप सोचोगे तो आप कर लोगे, नहीं सोच पाओगे तो नहीं कर पाओगे. Because again, that part will come back that you have to be conscious. The difference between a good student and the average student is the power of concentration. So you should focus, you should be concentrated, and you should be conscious about your all steps that are being taken.
Right, absolutely, absolutely, ma'am. How are the people who are procrastinators? कल कर लेंगे, अरे सुबह कर लूंगा, अरे तो मेरे एग्जाम से एक दिन पहले. Because what I feel, and thanks to our education system, we have been built in such a way that we study for an exam just to qualify it, and we have that. I mean, not all, but majority of these students have that take on the exam कि अरे I can start at the 11th hour, मैं तब भी कर लूंगा, इतना ही तो पढ़ना है, 50% ही तो पढ़ना है. I'll just be able to qualify the exam. मुझे पता है ये important topic है, which is actually not the right lookout if you're preparing for a competitive exam, because it is a national level exam. So for the procrastinator types, what are your tips for them?
See, first and the foremost, we have to understand our journey for academics is something where we can say bid alvida, right? So right now you have to be very much realistic, because teachers, mentors, ऐसा कोई specific नहीं है. Though your parents, some counselors and some teachers you are interacting, but there is nobody to force you, nobody to tell you अरे homework करना ही है. It's your requirement, आपको करना है. एक point में यहाँ पे add करना चाहती हूँ वगीशा मैम, मुझे ये भी लगता है there are few students जो test नहीं देना चाहते because they don't want to face the reality. कहीं ना कहीं they are scared. They are anxious कि पता नहीं टेस्ट देने के बाद क्या रिजल्ट आएगा, मे बी आई विल बी नॉट डूइंग वेल. सो ये जो खुद से भागने वाला प्रोसेस विल नेवर हेल्प यू इन योर प्रोफेशनल लाइफ. In professional life you have to face everything, right? And you have to understand, and there is scope to improve. There is nothing like नहीं हो सकता है ना. So there are many steps, many ways to reach your goal, but the point is आप भागो मत, face the reality and work on yourself. तब आप देखोगे धीरे धीरे ये प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन वाला प्रॉब्लम धीरे धीरे गायब हो जाएगा. एंड दोज हु आर हैविंग प्रोक्रेस्टिनेशन प्रॉब्लम, बोला जाता है दैट सॉल्व पजल्स, राइट, सो दैट यू कैन बिल्ड योर कंसंट्रेशन. रीडिंग तो बहुत बोरिंग काम है, बोल बोल के हम लोग थक जाते हैं. तो पजल सॉल्व करो, कुछ अच्छा क्विज वगैरह सॉल्व करो, है ना, कुछ अच्छा लॉयर का केस स्टडीज कुछ छोटा छोटा मिलता है वो रीड करो. दैट एक्चुअली हेल्प्स यू टू कंसंट्रेट,
राइट. It also depends on the interest that you have in something. You'll automatically focus on something, concentrate on something when you're genuinely invested in it, when you're genuinely interested in it. So that actually can help you if you find something that is of your interest, find common places maybe in the things, right?
So, absolutely. Here I will bring one reference to a book also. Recently there is a book named as Wrapped. I don't know how many of you have heard about it. It's a New York Times bestseller right now. Okay. So Winifred is the author, if I'm not wrong. So wahan pe she has very nicely forecasted on the few things. Like one example that she has taken over there, or rather she has mentioned over there about a cancer patient. She was going through chemotherapy, and she thought that how to, get away from this anxious state, how to deal with this state, because this is really painful. I see there is no one around me. So at that time, she finally developed her interest in art. Art means writing and all. So finally, she's explaining in that book that really she's enjoying the process. Being a cancer patient going through chemotherapy is a most painful situation. But in that painful situation also, she's getting relief out of art. So this thing can be added. Do something that makes you happy. पढ़ाई के बीच में भी if you feel that मुझे burden हो रहा है, monotonous चल रहा है, या I'm procrastinating and all, do something that makes you happy. It can be anything. Take pleasure, take happiness out of it. That will give you energy. Again, I will say time is counted, but energy is also very, very important at this last moment.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely. So, like I mentioned earlier, that we have all the undergraduate exams aligned to be taking place. I think the NPAT exam is already going on. People have, they have booked their slots. It's basically what Narsing Munji does is they open a 75-day window, and a person can give up to 3 attempts. So I think NPAT exam is already going on. CET will be taking place soon. CVT will be beginning from, like I said, 21st of May, and then in June and July we're going to have IPMAT and JIPMAT. So we have, there's a person who's targeting all these management exams along with CUET, has multiple exams to prepare for. Even though at some level the syllabus and the topics to be covered for the management exams are pretty much similar, but yet again the marking scheme is different, and a lot of the strategy has to be different for each exam. For example, inside you do not have any negative marking, but for IPMAT you have negative marking, so your strategy automatically would switch as per the exam. So my question here is, how can somebody like a student who's applying for all these exams can strike a balance in preparation for all these exams, because they all are going to take place one after the other? So what are your tips for that?
See, as you said, very rightly said, that there are common areas between almost all the examinations. So common areas done. Then other than that, if I consider, there can be 3 extra sections which has to be managed. As I said, that as you people are right now free, very near to your exam, and only concentrating on your boards are done, only concentrating on your upcoming examination. So what can be done? I have to spend every day half an hour for all this section. That can be one area, one way you can manage. You can skip one area that your strength, you're good at, right? That's how also you can manage. It's up to you. Next, most important thing is understanding the pattern of each examination. Don't get confused. As ma'am has rightly said, negative markings are there. Some are having negative marking. So it's very important you analyze the pattern. You understand the pattern of the examination. Next important thing is going for more mocks, because once you go for more mocks and more full lengths, that will give you clarity really how you're performing and what are the things left. See, problems can be many when we go for a paper. Right. It can be time management. It can be accuracy. It can be question pickup. It can be like I was overconfident or I was underconfident. Many areas can be there. So you have to analyze each and every question if possible. As through Hitbullseye, we provide that through our dashboard, where you can have each single question analysis. I repeat once again, Hitbullseye provide each question single analysis, where you can have a complete analysis of the question. What does that complete analysis means? What is the estimated time and what time I am taking? Difficulty level, everything elaborated in the dashboard. So those who are Hitbullseye student easily can pick it up. And if you spend good amount of time, at least for 1 to 3 mocks, you will see automatically the things are manageable.
Absolutely. And that I think is a very different feature, not praising my own organization, but saying on a neutral level, it is a very different feature that not a lot of institutes out there are providing you, especially with a 2+2 model and everything. It's very well organized. So I think, yeah, that is something that people can look forward to. Okay, so ma'am, now I would want to talk about the spoken English, that is the PI route. So as we all know that for the IPMAT exams and for that matter even JIPMAT exam is followed by a PI route. And I have risen and we have spoken about this in the previous session as well, and I want to repeat the same thing because I think our audience this time would be different. So for a person who is qualifying his 12th class, who's passing out his 12th grade this year, he or she might not have that first-hand experience of an interview. This might as well be their first interview in their entire lives. So I think it can be something which could need help, which could need tips, which could need to be acknowledged. So what are the like the basic tips that you would want to give to somebody who's going to appear for a PI round?
Okay, so for the interview part, the first and the foremost, knowing yourself. When you know what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what are your skill set, knowing about you, what you really want from your life, what is your long-term goal, what is your short-term goal. I think whether you are a pass out graduate or you're a pass out standard 12 student, you have the same kind of things in your mind, that what I want and what I am, right? So if you synchronize both the things, what I am and what I want to, I think PI is manageable. How? If I say, tell me about your long-term goal. So you have made some plan that after 15 years, I want to see myself in this position. Or after 5 years, I want to see myself in this position. Why you're opting for a particular B school or why you're opting for a particular college. You have your own reason, right? So for PI, One is knowing yourself, what you are and what you want to be. Second, you should be updated about the daily happenings. Read the newspaper thoroughly, international, national news, business news, right? Third, write down some questions whenever you get time. Like if I have to say introduction, introduce yourself, what I'm going to say, write it down, scratch it, and again write down. So when you do this kind of rework, you will see your presentation will get enhanced. Fourth important pointer is knowing about your surrounding, very, very important, including your area, including your country, right? And definitely not the list, your subject knowledge, because right now students are being grilled on their subject knowledge. So if you're telling that I have got 98 percentile or 99 percentile, and you say that I got this percentile in maths, then there can be a question, okay, you're so good in maths. So tell me, define what is Venn diagram. And then you get stuck, that will not work out. So you have to be confident, and the conviction can come when you are preparing, when you are having good knowledge about all these areas. I think that's more than enough for the starter who are planning for PI.
Absolutely. And it's all about, I feel quite frankly, it's all about being honest, even if you don't know something, if you're upfront saying that, okay, I don't know about it, I think that's better, just accepting it. So, ma'am, in your experience, what are the common mistakes that candidates usually make in a PI round? The basic common mistakes that they might make that they should avoid.
Absolutely. So there are no greetings, starting the statement with myself, talking along about weakness, which is not required. Even if it's not asked, people are talking about their weakness. In the introduction, they are talking about their hobbies, right? Sometime about favorite food also. They goes in that brief of mind. Then there are mistakes like they cannot answer the common questions from their subject areas. If I consider economics, and if it is said who is the father of economics, they're not aware, right? If it is said how many parts of speech are there in English, they don't know. Then suppose they have written in their resume or biodata that I have read this book. Some question given or some question asked from that book, they're unable to answer. So then your performance is going down. Not knowing about your place, how many districts are there, why Punjab has been named as Punjab, very simple questions, and these are all IIM questions, right? IPMAT common question I'm telling. So if they are not able to handle those, if they are not into that research part, I think they can be in danger.
Right. So now we have a question in the comment section that I want to take up. So this is from Ishika Sharma. She says, ma'am, can you suggest a schedule for me? My weaknesses are math, vocabulary, general aptitude, and my good areas are business studies, economics, accountancy. If I'll start preparing for CVT from Monday. So,
okay, why from Monday? Today is Friday. Today is 14th. What is that specialty in Monday? फिर हो गया ना procrastination. पहले तो ये schedule को cut करो. Do it from tomorrow onwards. Time is very short right now. है ना? अभी आप ये challenge नहीं दे सकते हो. Every minute, every hour counts. Second, जो आपका good areas है, you can spend at least you can skip a day if you want, but which you really feel that you really need to work on. You need to focus for that. I heard one is maths. So for maths, you have to be good with formulas, cube roots, square roots, tables. Once you're very comfortable with this, definitely your speed will increase. So that will help. And also your accuracy, if I talk from one point of view. And from verbal, vocab, I think she said, no, if I'm not wrong. So for vocab, it's very important that everyday basis, how many words you're targeting to enrich your vocabulary. It can be word, it can be phrases, how much you're into reading part, how much you're using contextual vocabulary to derive meaning while reading. Right. Actually, when we are very near to examination, na, it is not about reading. अब धक्का मार के नहीं बोलना है कि 15 मिनट रीड करो, आधा घंटा रीड करो. अब ऐसा होना चाहिए how many pages I am reading.
Absolutely.
कुछ एग्जाम ऐसा है that is totally reading comprehension based or passage based in a very simple way. So for that, how many count of page I am daily targeting, that matters.
Right.
I think I've answered all our queries and all.
She's replied to the comment section. She's saying, ma'am, I'm out of station right now. That's why let's start from Monday.
Start with some quizzes. If you're a Hitbullseye student, you have the dashboard every time with you.
Yeah, go refer to it. Yeah, or maybe might as well start reading since you said that you're not good with general aptitude, so you might as well can start with GK or something. Okay, so we were talking about the PI. So, ma'am, another thing that I would want to know from the PI perspective is, do you think that non-verbal communication or yeah, basically non-verbal communication, is it important in a PI round?
Absolutely. Non-verbal communication always matters because the way you present yourself, that matters. And we all know that Kahabat, first impression creates everything. You have to be very careful about your impression that you're creating. Impression, what does it mean? It means whether I'm smiling, whether I'm maintaining eye contact while talking, whether I'm taking care of posture and gesture while entering the room, while leaving the room, while sitting down. Is there any greetings? How I'm shaking hands with others? Everything, each and everything are minutely counted and checked. So you have to be careful about it includes your dressing etiquette also. So all these things comes under non-verbal communication when we talk from PI point of view.
Right. So even the dressing has to be formal. It also has to be not very flashy colors or not very revealing clothes. It has to be decent. It does not necessarily have to be a Western wear. It can be an Indian wear also, but it should be decent. The colors should not be loud. Also, if it is an online PI, because nowadays, thanks to a lot of technology that has developed, so also people are also appearing for the online what do you say, online PIs. So for online PIs, ma'am, anything different from physical ones? Any new suggestions?
See, as we say, for reading also, you should be online, offline. For PI, why not online, offline? Because many interviews are happening online, right? So if you have an online practice, that will help you in advance. Because how to set my camera, how to look at the camera, how much I should pan down, everything matters. So definitely that mode, when it is on, I have to take care of. Like how much I should use my hand gesture while talking in front of the camera. Everything matters, right? So definitely that plays an important role.
Yeah. Even one common tip that can be given, if we say no in the physical interview, some bolte hain कि you're supposed to maintain an eye contact, look at the interviewer in the eye, or if you are somebody who's really shy to maintain an eye contact, maybe might as well look at the wall behind the person, so you'll get an illusion that you're looking directly at them. So similarly for the online interviews also, in you how you can maintain an eye contact is by looking directly at the camera. Because what happens with the online interviews, the person does not know what is going on your screen or maybe on in your surroundings. So if you're not looking at the camera and you're looking somewhere else, so it gives the person an illusion that you might as well be cheating or you're doing something mischievous there. That's very, very important that you look at the camera when you're speaking. Try to, like ma'am said, reduce your hand gestures, have a right posture. All of these should contribute to an effective PIs. And then, of course, be honest with yourself. That's very, very important. So, okay, we have another question. I think everybody's here to get their study plan, I think. So, another query. Ma'am, my main weakness is quant, and I'm good in verbal and logical part. So, what should I do? I think it's pretty much the same. Work on your
just now we have touched. First and the foremost, if you're a Hitbullseye student, check how many sectional you have given, how many doubt session you have attended, and how much doubts you have put in the Telegram group. Especially for the Hitbullseye student, I'm telling. Second, to be good with quant, already we have discussed that you have to be good with the basic. Definitely, you need to understand the logic, and you need to be good with the accuracy part. And definitely practicing different set of question, easy, difficult, moderate. So that if easy and moderate come, and मुझे लगता है कि ये मेरा weak area है, ये topic ज़्यादा मैं नहीं जा सकता, at least you can manage. But neglecting a topic, कि quant मेरा weak है, चलो profit and loss को cut कर देते हैं. फिर क्या होगा, शायद उससे easy question आ जाएगा, फिर आप नहीं कर पाओगे. That will be a mistake for you. So better आप syllabus को cover कीजिए, fundamentals पे काम कीजिए, calculation speed को increase कीजिए, accuracy पे ध्यान दीजिए. And daily basis quant.
Yeah. And I must say that you, both of you, Janvi and Ishika, are on the right path because they exactly know what are their strengths and what are their weaknesses, which I think that self-awareness is very, very important for you when you're going to attempt an exam, especially an exam with a negative marking. You should know कि आप किसमें अच्छे हो, आप किसमें बुरे हो. So that clarity, I think, is very, very good. So Ishika here is asking about books, suggestion for books. We'll come to that. So related to that only, ma'am, I wanted to ask a question from your expertise since you are our verbal faculty here. So, ma'am, according to you, if somebody wants to brush up their vocabulary, let's say in the last one and a half month of their preparation, what are the basic tips for that? To brush up vocabulary, I'm not saying that learn new words or gulp new words. How to maintain the quotient that you already have? What are the tips for that?
So first and the foremost, when we talk about vocabulary, go to your dashboard. You have a special vocab section over there. Go for some online test assignment. Because it's like GK, आपको पता है तो पता है, नहीं पता है तो नहीं पता है. नहीं पता है तो कोई problem नहीं है. आप जब सही देख लोगे आंसर वो याद रह जाता है. So that's when mnemonics comes in vocabulary. So take daily quizzes. There are many apps also which gives you that privilege. Use flashcards whenever you're getting time. Now understand vocabulary. What vocabulary you're looking for? There are areas. Like, is it like I'm only focusing on words and I'm not taking care of the jargons and terminologies? No, it is not going to happen. So words, terminologies or jargons, some good phrases, some good proverbs, some good idioms, some good root words, common root words, some common suffixes, some common prefixes. I think everything I have mentioned over here. So if you take care of all this, then you will see your vocabulary will get enriched. But अगर आपका target है मुझे तो बस word देखना है, word कब तक देखोगे? And one most important thing, if you are maintaining a separate notebook for vocabulary, please do revise the words that you have learned. क्योंकि vocab का challenge यही रहता है, we don't remember it. And daily reading, I already said, using the words wherever possible while using social media, put kar do kuch difficult sa word and all, and or when you are communicating with your friends, family and all, right? So using the words also helps you to be very much, in touch with vocabulary. And different set of question to hai, pattern of question to hai.
Right. So that's something that I'm hearing for the very first time, ma'am, that don't revise the notes that you have made. That's something new. I've never heard somebody say that before. Okay, so we have Shivangi who's saying, good evening, ma'am. I'm going to appear for CLAT this December. CLAT as in CLAT 24, right? And I'm not able to start my preparations as I'm scared. I just keep procrastinating. I don't know where to start.
Okay, so Shivangi, सबसे पहले procrastination word को निकाल दो. There is also some other word in today's session, proclamation. पहले उसको include करो. Second and the foremost, you try to understand आपका target क्या है December. अभी हम लोग April में है, mid April खत्म हो गया, चलो May आ गया. So May से December में क्या आपको लगता है सारा syllabus आपका cover हो सकेगा? Once you feel this kind of thing, अगर लगता है कि नहीं हो पाएगा, over confident है ना, कुछ नहीं करना है. अगर Hitbullseye के student हो, go for a diagnostic CLAT, you will get immediately the result where you are standing. अब तब तो procrastination का जगह ही नहीं रहेगा. You will get a shock or you will get to understand, okay, I need to work more. Interest भी बन जाता है. It's not about shock. Right. Sometimes when you perform good in a particular test, it creates interest also. It's sparking moment जो बोलते हैं ना. And then you feel, no, I need to do a little more. इससे तो मेरा और ज़्यादा अच्छा आ जाएगा. So go put yourself under that kind of pressure. I think that will help you. Or you can pick up any actual papers of CLAT also and you can start solving them. There also you will get the reality. Okay, this kind of questions are coming. Okay, that set of questions are coming. So this much I have to go. I think that will help Shivangi. And सबसे पहले most important thing, अगर ऐसे procrastination ये बहुत common हो चुका है. The reason is we don't focus. वही फिर से consciousness लाओ खुद के अंदर, meditation करो, books read करो. I think that will help you.
Right. And also I feel in CLAT, you have 5 subjects that you have to prepare for. You have logical reasoning, you have quant, you have English, you have legal reasoning, you have GK. So just to get there, just to start, choose that one particular subject जो आपको लगता है is closest to you or something that amongst these five that you are most interested in, begin from there, and then start devoting shorter amounts of time. Like this ma'am had already mentioned in the initial part of the session, where she said कि आधा घंटा से शुरू करो, and then you'll automatically build a habit. And it's just, may you have enough time for preparations, Ishika. Not saying it in a procrastination manner, like what time is, but you have time, and you it's still not too late. You can still begin. You can still have a routine. Begin with your preparations, right? So enough of the procrastination. Have a reality check and begin with it, right? So that was about the verbal aspect that I wanted to talk to you about, because this is, again, we have already discussed about vocabulary. It's a very common query जो बच्चों से आती है कि मैम vocabulary याद नहीं हो रही है, या vocabulary को कैसे हम maintain करें, याद रखते तो उसको भूल जाते हैं. The common kind of questions that they usually have. So the answer to that is that you can utilize it in your regular day-to-day things as much as possible, and you'll get used to it. That was about the verbal aspect, ma'am. Now let's talk about mocks, because I mentioned earlier also that I hope that everybody has started appearing for mocks. So here in the last 10-15 minutes of this session, I would want to emphasize more on giving mocks. Like before the session, even you were telling the students are not appearing for tests, they're not giving mocks, they're not doing such an important part of their preparation. So please put some light, please enlighten us about the necessity of preparing for mocks, the importance, how crucial it is at this point of time.
It's very crucial. It's like सांस लेना जरूरी है, mocks भी जरूरी है. तभी आपको realization मिलेगा कि आप कहाँ पे stand कर रहे हो. It should be like in that way. ऐसे समझाएंगे तो समझेंगे ना. तो फिर एक दूसरा हो गया कि without mock you are not understanding where you are standing. Without mock आप प्रोक्रेस्टिनेट कर रहे हो. विदाउट मॉक आपको पता नहीं चल रहा है कि क्वेश्चन पिकअप में हाउ मच यू आर गुड एट, टाइम मैनेजमेंट में हाउ मच यू आर गुड एट, किस एरिया को कितने इंपॉर्टेंस देना चाहिए, डाउट सेशंस में नहीं आ रहे हो, होमवर्क्स नहीं कर रहे हो, सेक्शनल्स नहीं कर रहे हो, मन नहीं कर रहा है, कल करेंगे. तो ये सारा जो प्रॉब्लम है ना, इसका जो आंसर है वो है मॉक. अगेन सांस लेना जरूरी है, इसलिए मॉक देना भी बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज until and unless you give mock, you will not understand where you are standing and how much you have to derive. I think that will be one simple answer. And for English, reading, reading, reading. It's not about 30 minutes reading, 15 minutes reading, 1 hour reading. It's about how many count of pages you are reading. It's about what you are reading. Reading should be online, offline, both the way. Reading should be different types. What does types mean? The types mean, I will elaborate over here because I meet people who say, ma'am, mera English develop nahi ho raha hai because I have been reading novel for last 6 months, but kuch nahi ho raha hai. The reason is novel aap read kar, it's good. I'm not stopping you. But add variety, because bacha, when you go for competitive examination, there are variety of passages, style wise bhi and topic wise bhi. So topic wise bhi aap different topics ko read karo. Social science, science, technology, art, architecture, whatever you feel like. And next is types: essays, short stories, poems, newspaper, magazine, travelogue, interviews. Make it interesting. When you diversify, ना interesting भी बन जाता है, and आप जब interest लेते हो, फटाफट वो चीज improve भी हो जाता है. So you have to be in that process. So process को monotonous मत बनाइए, make it interesting. And read different styles, especially for CUET kids. Read different style of passages: narrative, fictional, mix and match, and read factual. Read it, then you will understand.
Absolutely, ma'am. This we have a comment about know the dashboard session. So Ishika, the session is not, we're just talking about a little briefly about what all you get on the dashboard. That was all that we're trying to cover. This session is not about dashboard, it is not a promotional event, it is basically to help the students out there, whether they are enrolled with us at Hitbullseye or otherwise. It's a helpful session that way. So yeah. Then we have, good evening, ma'am. What should I do for legal studies? So legal studies, I feel it's pretty much about the pattern for legal studies is similar to logical reasoning. Only you're given a particular statement and you have multiple questions that you're supposed to answer reading that particular passage. So for legal studies, also the basic suggestion is that you start with knowing the facts because it's much of a factual information, I feel, right? And get your facts corrected, update yourself with whatever current news is going on relating to the legal aspect. Let's say that this today there is a news about constitution, XYZ news about constitution. You read it. Try to explore more about constitution. Go towards the history of constitution. Learn about that. So this way you'll be able to cover a larger sphere of the concept. Right? Now, anything that you would want to add to it?
Yes, coming to the, am I audible? Yeah. So, when we talk about especially the legal studies, that was the question all about, right? So, definitely there will be some alien areas. I think Amara's discussion ki pehle bhi we have discussed today that alien areas are there at the beginning of the discussion today, right? So alien areas are there. So there is nothing to get scared ki alien area hai. Definitely I have to take the challenge. Agar main law ke liye ja raha hu, to legal study will be an important role. And it is expected, utna difficult level ka to question aayega nahi, but you should be in touch with the legal articles. You should read it on daily basis, jo lighter mode mein hai, so that you can get adaptable in reading those, comprehending those and answering those. चैलेंज यही रहता है हम रीड भी नहीं कर पाते हम समझ भी नहीं पाते हम आंसर भी नहीं दे पाते सो रीड comprehend that will help you in answering the questions but अगर आप कभी रीड ही नहीं किए लीगल की कोई भी आर्टिकल right and you're planning for law that will be a difficult thing for you.
Absolutely.
Same with general aptitude, I think for CUET, अगर आप उस process में नहीं हो, आप समझ ही नहीं पा रहे हो, question क्या है, will never be able to answer. So saying it's a very logical one.
Absolutely, absolutely. So another question from Sarthak Chandra is talking about vocab. So we've already discussed about the vocab part quite in depth earlier in the session. So you can watch the session a little bit from the earlier part, and then you can see we have talked about vocabulary. Ma'am has shared valuable tips as to how you can enhance your vocabulary aspect. Right. Thank you, Devendra, for the comment. I hope it helps all the students out there. So I think we are almost towards the end of the session. And I think we've covered almost everything. The agendas of the session are covered here. So any last minute tips, any parting words for the students out there who are yet to appear for all these various exams, whether at the UG domain or at the PG domain, any parting words, please?
Yeah, so see, try to understand whatever you do, you have to clear your target because then only you can reach to your destination, whether Absolutely. It's IIM, whether it's your some central university, whatever it can be, right? And always remember that when we want to pursue success in our life, it is like shooting at a series of, moving targets. Right. आपके पास moving targets आ रहा है, आपको shoot करना पड़ रहा है ना? Right. So you have to prepare yourself in that way. And if you start early, I don't think so it's early also, it's late, almost late. है ना? तो 1-2 महीना जब रह गया है, आपको समझना है कि हाँ, now I need to come out of my procrastination, खुद को धक्का मारना है, जिसके बारे में हमने discuss किया है. And one thing is, when you want to make the success enduring, na, you want the success to be last long, then happiness should be there. Along with that, achievement should be there. There should be significance and legacy. ये 4 parameters हैं. So find it out where you are standing and work on that. थोड़ा difficult terminology में last में दे रही हूँ. I want you to do a little bit of homework. इसके बारे में थोड़ा read करो. You will understand why I said all this thing. Because if you make your process happy, you will achieve something. When you achieve something, you will understand the significance. Achieving something is not happy, not so easy also. Okay, every time if you're happy, you're not achieving something. But when you achieve something like competitive examination, that will make you happy. And when you are happy, you will understand its importance. And when you understand its importance, you will carry forward with this discipline, which we call as legacy, in a very simple way. This is the today's mantra, as I always keep on believing in mantra in every session. So this is 4 pillars of today's mantra when we are planning for competitive examination, where you have to see where you are standing. You need to start. You have all the access given. You have all the help from our end. Everybody is eager to help you out. Just you have to start. So start with that. Don't get scared of it. All the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your valuable time. I hope we were able to help the students out there. Thank you so much. And all you people out there, even if you're watching this video later on and not a live version, please feel free to post your doubts in the comment section. We try to cover as much as possible. Still, if there are any queries left, please post it in the comment section and we'll get back to you as soon as possible, right? And thank you so much for joining in. I hope you found this 1 hour to be really fruitful. I hope you would implement the tips that we have tried to discuss with you in the today's session, and implement in your regular life and stop procrastinating. Delete procrastination word from your dictionary and focus on your exam. All the very best, and hope to see good comments about your progress later in the future. And if you really like the video, this session for that matter, please press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and share this video with other people who need help. Thank you so much. Good night. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.